one way to mentally think about time extrusion is to begin to dance your way into understanding the flow of motion as it moves through individual slices and what the geometric result of those motions are. Obviously you can use photos and do little drawings, keyframes. One way to use those drawings perhaps is to draw your keyframes and glue each one onto a piece of cardboard onto some kind of extender, cut it out and stack them back against each other. You probably want to put a grid so you understood where the lock points were. That way you can see an extrusion. But once you start to do that a few times, you can also just do it with your body and try to think of, for example, a walk cycle would be that kind of, would create a flow of the arms, and you just have to then imagine the way the arm as it's going down and up would look as it's creating a flow shape. If my arm is disappearing behind me, I would try to think of this arm going like this behind me and then back out the other side, interrupted by the torso. Or if I were rotating, I would want to think of my head the way that the nose has disappeared right now and then comes out over, appears right here while the ear disappears. The eyes come around and you keep moving. If you were to do that, you would think about it as this kind of a motion. You'd actually try to extrude your own body language in space to try to imagine from the top view or geometrically in 3 dimensions how the nose or the features, the eyes, the hair grows, changes shape, disappears, becomes large and full on the back of the head, and how the ears flip around. How the shoulders are broad, for example, they're very thin here as a shape, and then they widen out as you come to further down, and then they trim down again as you go to this kind of position. I just think it's really important to dance in your head like this and imagine if you were to take those flow shapes and move the clay through those kinds of larger motions, or you watch other people and you imagine them doing that, you begin to train the muscle in your mind to actually think about how the extrusion of motion over time starts to look. And you don't need to rely so much, once you start to think about it, on cheats like creating little pieces of cardboard, or if you do computer animation, you can do stereolithography and actually do real extrusions in 2D, 3D, and print them out, which is the ultimate cheat. I think that there's a purity to thinking about it and to finding the motion in your mind and artistically creating the flow of these shapes as if you were in a tube yourself, moving backwards and forwards, and that is the way the motion, that's how you can start to conceptualize these more complicated motions. So it's an important mental tool to try to train yourself if you're serious about trying to get better at time extrusion.